can further describe him as a prolific mental health advocate who is abreast of innovative digital tools with which he offers psychotherapy and education to you and I. And he's going to do that this morning. Good morning to you, sir. A very good morning to you, Mr. Adi. Can I call you Mr. Adi?
Yes, that's fine.
All right, good morning to you and welcome to the studios of Z101.9 FM.
Thank you for having me.
And how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Question 1.
Yes.
You deal with all manner of people, all manner of situations. You listen to people's issues and you see their emotions and all of that. Do you go back home in one piece?
Oh, yes. So as part of our training, you're supposed to have that kind of ability to be able to deal with the client's issues and not take it into your personal life, because they are your client's issues and not supposed to be your issues. So we have something where we draw a thin line between the cases that we see and our personal life, so that we don't have that interaction. Yeah.
You were trained like that?
Yes.
We are still trying to demystify yours as a clinical psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
You are a human being after all.
Yes.
Have you ever felt like breaking down and just hide it when a situation looks like yours somewhere?
Well, for me, in the early years of practice, I remember where almost every time when I had a tougher case, I find it difficult to go home and sleep, because I'll be thinking about the case on ending. Over time, I got to know that, okay, I can be effective if I'm able to solve the things that are in front of me and not go to the long term that I may not have the resources to. Because sometimes they'll be dealing with financial issues. I may not have the resources to help them out in the interim. But I can be able to link them up to someone who can be able to advise them, who can be able to give them some opportunities to be able to help them resolve the tension that they are going through for the interim, and be able to build upon that particular achievement they've attained to help have a good financial background. So I had to learn some of these things the hard way. So for now, yeah, it's much better.
How to detach your emotions. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are demystifying our clinical psychology right here. And I'm speaking with Ezekiel N.T.A. Adi. He's a clinical psychologist sent by God to show you and I how to deal with a narcissistic partner. Mr. Adi, who is a narcissist?
Okay, so when we talk about a narcissist in the most obvious term, someone who has an increased sense of self-worth, and they tend to exploit others for their own personal
Before
gain.
you go to exploitation, what is wrong with having self-worth? What is wrong with this situation?
Okay, so the reason why someone who is a narcissist becomes a problem because of their increased self-worth is because of the fact that these individuals or human beings don't live in an island. We interact with people on a day-to-day interaction. So because of that, we lose some, we compromise on some, and to a large extent, we gain something in our interactions. So if you're a person where every time you want to gain, then there's a problem, because you can't always win. You have to lose some, you have to compromise some, and you have to lose some. So because of that, if a narcissist have that mindset that I always have to win, then it becomes a problem.
But Mr. Ade, what is the difference between that and self-centeredness? Because it sounds quite the same if you elaborate.
So when it comes to someone who is a narcissist, so narcissist is a personality trait where you may have different types of personalities. So there are some people that they are the sanguine, they are very open, free, like they don't necessarily keep things to heart. They are easygoing. And there are some people that are also strict, principled. They want to follow a specific ways in that instance. So they like to work with the structure. And there are some as well where they may have some of these qualities, but then again, all of these qualities is focused on themselves. We'll say something in our local parlance, in that context. So it's always about them every time. So when it comes to self-centeredness and someone who is a narcissist, with self-centeredness, the person is interested in about their self-interest. However, they can show empathy. They can be able to understand what you are going through. However, they may not necessarily want to act in that context because their interest supersedes your interest. So they want to prioritize themselves. With the narcissist, they don't have that empathy to begin with. So they don't understand your situation to begin with to even make a decision to not prioritize it. So it doesn't even exist for narcissists in the first place.
Did you say they don't understand?
Yes.
Or they don't want to understand?
They don't understand because...
They genuinely don't.
Yes. Because it's not there to begin with. Because of the fact that based on how they were brought up, either through childhood experiences or genetics, they don't have that trait of being able to empathize with people or to be in someone's shoes. So when something is happening, they really don't care. They are used to their realities most of the time, in a sense that they are living the bubble.
This is scary.
Yeah.
So that brings me to a very pertinent question, because what is the difference between somebody with narcissistic traits and then somebody with a narcissistic personality disorder? Because you did say something about genetics.
Yeah.
And that is where it's scary.
So naturally, we all human beings can be the same. And when it comes to personality, our personalities change over time based on the experiences we go through and based on the growth we experience. So when it comes to someone who is a narcissist in terms of the personality traits, like I said, the person is mostly self-centered. They have increased sense of self-worth. They try always to prioritize themselves. However, it becomes a personality disorder when the person is not able to recognize or self-reflect about their increased self-worth or their self-centeredness, right? Because at that point in time, they lose control. It becomes a disorder because the person do not have control over the fact that this what I did wasn't right. So I'm reflecting and trying to change, even though that is who they are. Being able to know that this what I did, NY didn't like that. So I have to change that and be able to make her happy if, for example, NY is in this relationship with that person. Based on that ability to self-reflect and come to that awareness is what differentiates between the narcissist as a personality trait and someone who has a narcissistic personality disorder, because that awareness does not exist.
So it means somebody who has the narcissistic personality disorder can graduate successfully to just becoming a narcissist or with the traits.
Yeah.
And that is a little better. At least they know.
Yes. So knowing, most of the time they know, but the issue is that because it's part of their personality, it's very difficult to change. So most of the time you see them, they do it and they will apologize that, okay, it wasn't intentional. But then again, they will keep doing it again and again and again. But the issue is that they have the self-awareness. With someone that has a personality disorder, they will not apologize to begin with. They will not even know that they've done something that is making them self-centered. For them, they feel like their reality is the perfect option. Nothing else matters. But in the narcissistic personality traits, they recognize that, okay, this person I'm with that I care about doesn't like the way if I get food, I only eat and not give them some and not even call them to invite them to join me, even though they will not eat. They will keep doing that, but they recognize that they have that sense of awareness. But the difficulty is how to be able to change that particular trait to a much common grounds that can accommodate other person's interests as well.
NTA, right? Can I call you NTA? Yes. So we'll be asking about therapy and whether you have met such people. Now, a little delve into their traits some more, and then we can look at what accounts for that. Some of the traits I have found as a layperson is that they have to, it's got to be them, like you have said, okay? You have to lift them. They have to be the ones to be praised. And then I've also heard, that is if it's true per your within your circles. Yeah. They would, for instance, meet a woman or meet a man. They would be so sweet to them from the start, make them feel so good, like they found gold. And just when you are getting cozy and you're getting relaxed and you are telling yourself, I have found a man, then they pull away and stop all of those things. And so that means that then you will cry and be craven for
Yeah.
That's a form of manipulation.
Yeah.
And so does it suggest that one tool that they use, narcissists would use, is manipulation? Is that right?
Absolutely. So every narcissist enjoys the thrill of being in control because they want to always not lose control. They always want to be in control. So they use every tool at their disposal to maintain that control, even if they don't need that control. Bear in mind, there are certain instances where you have to take control because it's important.
Of course.
And there are some instances where you have to let go of control because you don't need it. But for them, they want to have that equilibrium throughout, be in control at all times because they don't trust you to ensure that you have their interests at heart. They believe that they are the only person that can have their interests at heart, no other person else. So that's the manipulation bit is true because they'll make you, because they want to be able to stay in control, they'll do everything possible to get your attention for you to be able to be conditioned towards them. Now, when you're conditioned towards them, that's when the problems start coming in based on the fact that you're not able to retract or pull back because you've become dependent on whatever tools they've used to hook you onto themselves. So that's where the issue becomes, and then you get to experience them in their full glory in that kind of context. So basically that's it on the manipulation bit. Also, they have this sense of grandiosity. Like everything has to be excessively huge in their opinion. That even if most of the time when it comes to wealth, they may not have that money, but they always want to project a certain kind of lifestyle because of the fact that they are destined for greater things, even though they haven't attained
But what is
those
wrong with
greater
that?
things.
Are we not supposed to be aiming at something?
Absolutely. You should be able to aim for these things. But the issue is that you aim for those things as a reflection of what you have.
Right.
So if you are telling someone that you have 50 cars, but you have just 2, that is what a narcissist is likely to project. They don't have those things, but they want to make it look like they have those things.
But that is becoming familiar even to myself. But another thing, sometimes I counsel in my own way. People bring their issues, and one of the things I've also heard, and as to whether it falls in this category, is that a woman says her man doesn't want to tell her she looks beautiful because she will feel like she's beautiful and she'll start acting as one. Another lady says she's into acting, and her man, her fiance, will not tell her, will not hype her, will not promote her, but will be promoting other people so she doesn't feel like she's a star. Is it part of it?
Yeah, it's all part of the manipulation.
Whoa.
So the goal, when it comes to manipulation, the goal is to have you derive your source from them. You can't have any form of importance outside them. They are the source of attraction. So whatever they have to do to constantly keep you in that loop of you trying to come to them, to ask them, how am I looking today? They like that thrill. As opposed to telling you every time, whilst you not come to them to ask, how am I looking? Because they like it when you come ask them for them to validate your feelings.
Chai.
So because of that, they'll do everything in their manipulation scheme to keep you in that check so that you are dependent on them and you can constantly keep asking, because if everybody tells you are beautiful and that person doesn't say you are beautiful, you don't believe it.
Exactly.
Because of the fact that that validation that comes from them holds enough power than any other thing that other people will tell you, including yourself.
I'm talking to clinical psychologist and more. His name is Ezekiel NTA Adi, and we are looking at how to deal with a narcissistic partner. It's getting even scarier, but I know that there are solutions to every problem. Now, question is, what accounts for these traits? Are they born with them? Do they acquire them? What is it?
Okay, so there are different schools of thoughts. And when it comes to the field of psychology and personality studies, there are some that are genetically predisposed. That's how they are. They are born in that instance. However, because they are genetically predisposed, that's where nature comes in. The nurturing that they get shapes how that particular predisposition is fine-tuned to accommodate into the realities that they experience. So someone who has an increased sense of self-worth because of that self-centeredness that they have, based on the training that they get from childhood to a certain stage in adolescence, they now come to appreciate that it's okay for me to prioritize myself sometimes, but not all the time at the expense of others. Because with that trait happens is that you always prioritize yourself, even if it's at the expense of other people, because of the fact that you must get what you want. That's on the genetic aspect.
Right.
Now, the next aspect is on childhood experiences. You know how children go through the formative period, learning how to speak, interacting with people, and also trying to be emotionally connected to their parents. So if a parent is showing excessive praise and excessive attention to a child, they are likely to feel entitled to that excessiveness. So in that situation where they grow up and someone is not giving them that excessive attention, it becomes an issue to them, because even if you are working and you are dying, you have to show them that attention because they are much more important than anything that is going on in your life. That logically does not make sense, because in our daily interactions, if something is happening, you have to prioritize. So let's say you are tired, but I want you to help me with something.
Right.
Me acknowledging that you are tired should give me the room to give you the chance to excuse you for that day because you're tired. But for a narcissist, they may not necessarily see that you are tired. They don't see the empathy. So that's where the empathy bit comes in, because they can't be in your shoes to see how you are tired. Right? So for them, you always have to end up doing what they want at all times, regardless of the situation that you're in.
So you're saying that treatment at home as a child. I have a friend, a brother, who always says, you know, all those things. That means that it means I was not a narcissist from the beginning. Maybe how they treated me with so much preference, respect.
Absolutely.
And I began to feel entitled to it,
Yes.
and I could become one.
Yes.
Oh la la. Well, so let's now come to the relationship. I believe that narcissists have bad relationships at work, because these traits also scream at work. Their traits scream in the marketplaces and any other place you find yourself.
Yeah.
But we want to narrow it down quickly to relationships. Okay, so a lady or a man, and I saw some striking funny statistics, I don't know how true, that mostly you find the narcissistic traits in men more than women. Please correct us if we are wrong.
That's true, because of the fact that because one, in terms of how we are socialized, men and women are socialized differently. Men are socialized to be the head of the family, to be the one that should be getting the money, be financially stable, be ambitious. The women are supposed to take care of the home, be the softer, the voice of reason in that instance. So because of the voice of reason in that instance, they are able to show empathy, accommodate other opposing or other sentiments. But for the man, okay, I have to get this, and how I get this is what matters. It doesn't matter who I hurt in the process in getting what I want. So that statistics can be true.
Is it that alone, or it's built in the male fabric? Is that what you're saying?
Well, for that would be very difficult to respond to that, or to make that determination, because of the predisposition. Currently, we don't know the specific reason for that predisposition. Could be several factors that we don't have that answers now. So people, yes, may have that predisposition, but it could be in both male and female. But because of the socialization that we experience, even if men don't have that predisposition, they are trained to be that, because personality is something that is formed over a period of time, and it can change. So today you might be a narcissist, tomorrow you can be, you cannot be a narcissist. Then you might not be a narcissist from your childhood, but you grow up being a narcissist because of how you've been influenced and your childhood experiences in that manner.
Ezekiel NTA Adi is a clinical psychologist, and we are having an amazing conversation about how to deal with a narcissistic partner. Now, you probably might have dealt with one or two, and then you identify those traits in them. What kind of a partner would a narcissist be very, very comfortable living with? What do they want in a partner?
So for someone who is a narcissist, what they'll want, they'll definitely want someone like a partner who doesn't challenge the authority, who is going to be fully submissive, and someone who leaves every decision to them to make that decision. Because there are some people that they'll prefer their partners to do everything and they just follow. So it now becomes a leader and a follower kind of a relationship. Now that relationship is all about being equal partners, because you also have needs, you also have ambitions, you also have things that you want to see in your relationship. So because of that, for a narcissist, they would want total control over everything in their relationship. Yeah.
Do they want, let's say it's a man, okay, we are referring to a man as a narcissist. Would he want a woman who cries when they manipulate them, or he wants a woman who will stand up to them? Which of them resonates well with a narcissist?
So obviously they will not want someone to challenge the authority at any point in time. They constantly want to create the impression that they are in control each and every second. Every time they want to be in control. So when, to a large extent, they get the inclination that you are deviating from the norm and you are standing up to what they are saying, then it becomes an issue to them. Then either they have to intensify their tools or their tactics in trying to keep you in the loop, or they will feel that this relationship can't work for me and they will want to part ways with you because they feel threatened and they feel their dominance will not be maintained in that context.
And I've also heard that when they part ways with you and then they go and don't find anyone who they could at least manage in terms of control, they want to come back to you, not because they love you, but because they crave for that. Is that right?
That's true, because it's all part of the manipulation. Now they go, and you know how breakup is not easy on both parties. So imagine you've been with this person for like 10 years. You were planning to get married to this person, and over time you found your voice, you were able to love yourself more, and because of all this growth that you've gone through over the years, you found your voice to be able to stand up to this narcissist as an equal. So when they feel threatened in that instance, they want to split with you because, hey, they think, oh, you've put in so much effort, so if I go, you come back begging them so that they can take you back. If you don't come back, now they will have to find a way to get back into your life and try and find where the stronghold is and take control all over again. Because for them to be able to feel in control and be able to live their fullest life, they have to be in control in some way, somehow.
Control. And women can also be narcissists.
Yes.
Let's not forget that.
Absolutely.
Like, we are not only castigating the men, but you're saying that per statistics, the men appear to be more. And I know you've dealt with a couple. I'll talk about how you did your therapy briefly, but emotional manipulation. I've also heard from people who are experiencing that from narcissists that when they tell them, I am hurt by what you've done, then they turn around and say, no, you have hurt me. Is that right?
Yeah, gaslighting.
Gaslighting, they call it.
So you've clearly seen a situation where they've done something to you, they are in the wrong, and you are also trying to draw their attention to it. But one mistake most people do is that narcissists are not emotional, or they lack the empathy.
Oh, where are they? What? They are not emotional?
Yes. So they lack the empathy.
What do you mean they are not emotional?
So
they are humans. Is it that they've
humans.
locked up their emotions, or they don't have it? Then you are a robot too.
So, so in terms of not having the emotions, or it could be in two folds.
Right.
Situation where the emotions are little or non-existent, and there could be in situations where the emotions are there, but they choose not to because of the fact that the self-interest is a priority.
That's right.
So everything has to feed into the self-interest. So if the emotion is going to stand in the way, they have to put it aside. So you can't address an issue with a narcissist from an emotional point of view. They will turn it around and use it against you. That they will now start talking that how you were even telling me you're shouting on me, whilst they keep forgetting that you have insulted the person. The person was trying to address that issue, just that they were also emotional and shouted at you. Now the conversation now becomes, why are you shouting at me? Why are you doing this? Why are you not? And they keep forgetting that they had rather said something derogatory to you in the beginning, which has infuriated you, which is why you are shouting. So now it now becomes a shouting. Are you my koyuko? Why are you doing this? Don't you have respect for me? All that. Then it takes away the actual substance of the matter.
Yes.
And that's how they are. They'll gaslight you into the fact that if you use an emotional approach in dealing with them, you always lose, because they are not able to see the emotional value in what you are bringing on board, as compared to someone who will feel, oh, I'm so sorry, because of the emotions you are showing, because they have empathy. They can be able to buy and understand why you're going through that particular situation, because you feel that they can feel that your feelings are hurt, but they don't feel that way. So they will gaslight you in that particular instance and rather focus on how you are saying it and not what you are saying.
So, Mr. Adi, you are into the mind of a narcissist. You've dealt with them. So we are looking at it from that point of view, and perhaps not even as a marriage counselor. We are looking at that aspect, the fact that you understand what a narcissist is trying to do by what they are doing, what they are trying to say, and all of that. What is the best way a partner could communicate with a narcissist? Suppose, assuming they live in the same house, what's the best way to communicate?
Okay, so when it comes to dealing with a narcissist, you have to stick to the facts. Stick to the facts.
Stick to the facts.
And and avoid emotional outbursts. So the issue is you have to, in sticking to the facts, you have to be calm. Tell the person that you did A, B, C, D. Don't attach any emotions to it, in order to let them to appreciate other effect on you. Put it black and white to them. You did this, you're not supposed to do this. Or you're supposed to pick the child at school. You didn't pick the child at school. Why? It's as simple as that. Don't tell how it made your work difficult, you had a bad day. They don't care about that. So you were supposed to pick a child at 2 p.m. You didn't pick the child. Why? That's it. So stick to the fact.
Won't he or she see that as you are trying to challenge their control?
So yes, it may seem such, but the issue is that in that particular instance, they will know that they're in the wrong. And because they may come to the terms that they are in the wrong, they don't have any outlets. So now you cut away any form of escape for them from running away from the issue. So that's why they'll say, okay, I know I didn't pick up the child. So what? Then it ends there. So they've admitted their guilt, even though it might not be the response you're looking for. As opposed to, you were supposed to pick up the child. You didn't pick up the child. It's 6 p.m. I had to wait. I had to go to work. All my day, I couldn't go to church. All that. And I'm tired.
He doesn't even care.
So you can't say, so what? So if I didn't pick up the child, so you also can't, because of church, you want to leave a child. Turn the whole situation to make it look like you are the irresponsible parent here. Whilst he was the one that didn't pick, or he or she was the one that didn't pick up the child at the appointed time, as opposed to what you are trying to communicate. So they turn the emotions because of the fact that you added more information to the facts, and they use the extra, the auxiliary information
they augment it, make it huge.
Absolutely. Then the actual issue of them trying to even admit why they didn't pick up the child gets lost.
All right. Well, Christian Donald is listening, and I thought you were going to ask your question. You say, it's a great day to be alive. You're really making my morning. Thank you so much, Donald. Chris, the motivator. You have any question for Mr. NTA Adi?
Yeah, I just wanted to add some more tips.
Please do.
Yeah. So the next one is don't engage them in circular arguments. So if you're having a conversation where you know you're not making sense, you're not arriving at a point, just let it slide, leave it. Because when you keep going in circular arguments, you create the opportunity for them to gaslight you. Thirdly, you have to concise and direct. Put it to them. Challenge the authority. Don't try and appeal to them.
Don't appeal to them.
Absolutely, don't appeal to them.
But he's your husband too, and you know in our setting you're supposed to. you know.
So not appealing to them doesn't mean that you are disrespectful.
Right.
So you tell them what the issue is in a direct manner. So, okay, I want to talk to you. The issue I want to talk to you about is that I don't like how you shouted at me in front of your friends. Simple as that. Go straight to the point.
Mr. Adi, so this is normally how we're taught to do it, okay? Literally. And I know if anybody is watching us on Facebook or X, baby, you know, I'm not happy with what you did. You know, it made me feel so bad. You know, you are saying it's not good.
It's not good.
I would have if funny to cry. It won't work.
It won't work because they don't care about the emotions bit you are displaying to them.
Wow.
Because they don't show that empathy. Because that empathy works, that emotion or that scenario described works if it's someone who has empathy and can understand how their action has caused this series of effect on you.
Okay. So, you are in marriage with a narcissist, displaying all these traits, and their character is making you feel less of yourself, whether you're a man or a woman. How do you remedy that situation for yourself? Because you cannot change them. How do you do that?
So, based on the earlier tips, being direct, sticking to the facts, not engaging in circular arguments, you also need to surround yourself with supportive friends. You need to have people that you can share what is going on with you to them, where they will not end up go say it somewhere else that this narcissistic partner will hear about it and come and use it as another issue altogether, because they're always looking for an opportunity to make something out of it. Also, you need to engage in activities that will boost your confidence, because now you have to work on yourself, because you can't change that person if they don't want to be changed. It's as simple as that. And if you come to that terms or that realization, you are able to effectively live with that person, because whatever they want to do, they are the person of their own, so they'll do it. When it comes to affecting you, you are direct with them, you stick with the facts and tell them to their face, I'm not going to tolerate this. You set a boundary. So you let them know that this is not what I'm going to tolerate. Even if it's something that you can tolerate, you have to make it look like you will not tolerate it, so that it gets reinforced in their mind. Because when you start making concessions with them, they are manipulating you.
And they shouldn't also let you get into the other emotion where you get angry and all of that, because it's like they are playing you, they are puppeting you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I work on myself, whatever it is they are doing cannot affect me.
Yes.
What will I become when I work on myself? Assuming I'm living with a narcissist, what will I become in his eyes?
So now you are not easy to decipher. Now you become very challenging. So now they are manipulating tactics they've been using. It's not working because
they will go and upgrade it.
They will go and upgrade it, all right. But then again, it's not foolproof. And because of the fact that they are bent on having 100% outcome, the 5% or 1% they're not getting is enough frustration for them. Forget about the 99. They want 100%. So even if they are able to get 99% control and you have just 1%, they are not happy.
But then how do I, if you are in a premarital relationship, I know that when you hear this discussion, you might even walk out of that relationship. But this one, you are married. And so how do I live with somebody who is 99% not satisfied with the fact that I'm standing up to myself and I'm treating myself good and I'm not tolerating their control or manipulative behavior?
So clearly, you have instances where you know this person. You know this person as your partner, what they like, what they don't like. So you play on those terms. Now you start playing their own game and be good at it. Just that you don't get yourself immersed into it where you end up losing.
But then sorry to cut you, I'm so sorry, but they play mind games. Are you saying that I should box it on with mind games too?
So if you can't play mind games, don't engage with it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. If you can't play mind games, don't engage with it, because you end up losing, because for them, they've been doing this for God knows how many years.
They have PhD in that.
You get it? So in that situation, when it comes to you, okay, because it's not easy to say that you want to leave this person, because sometimes you love this person to
That's
death.
right.
And they also have their good side, where in their situations where they feel like, okay, if you are their woman or you are their husband, they want to take good care of you.
Oh, they have that side?
Yes, they have that side
then
as
it's
well.
all right to
So,
date.
but the issue is that they always want the control.
But then won't that side also supersede sometimes, because every woman wants to feel good or the lovey-dovey and all that?
Absolutely, but then again, is the consistency. Because the fact that you want all the good things, when they get into their elements, are you able to deal with all those things
And
as
don't
well?
they even do the good things because they want to manipulate you with that, and so that you don't get swelling-headed when all of that, one day they'll pull away.
Absolutely.
Mr. Adi, our time is almost up, but let's look at something. A lady once, I was counseling a lady, and she described all the things you have just talked about, the traits and all that. And she said, and I said, oh, my sister, at this point, I can't do much. I can just help you a little. Go and seek therapy for yourself. Go to a psychologist, you know. And she told me, I have to, it's spiritual. He has a spiritual, but they have to cast the demon out. I begged and begged. She said, no, she's going to. There's nothing wrong with going to the church. I'm not saying that. What would you prescribe in terms of therapy?
Okay. So in terms of therapy with the type of client you described, most of the time we try to use the spiritual bits as an entry to also get them to come for therapy. So the alternative advice would be that, okay, go to church and go and pray. Come and tell me how you felt when you pray. Then from there, we start interrogating. Then the therapy has started without her knowing that she's in therapy.
I didn't even want to do that therapy because I'm not qualified to do so.
So could be that, okay, you could have advised her to also go pray. Then when they pray, go speak to a therapist about the prayer that they are doing and see how best they can build. Because looking at the multicultural situation that we find ourselves in, individuals are defined by their belief system and the things that they hold dear to them. So in therapy, we don't use, let's say, only the scientific in getting them to appreciate the things that they are going through.
Right.
We also use their belief system, because if they believe in those things, if they decide to do something, they'll see it through. But if they don't believe in those things, no matter what I tell them, no matter the strategies I give to them to go and try, they will not see it through because it's against their belief system.
Beliefs. All right, 30 seconds. Have you dealt with a narcissist who probably wants to come out of it?
Yes.
How has it been?
So it was challenging in the beginning because my experience was at the point where the person had a disorder. So the situation where they were not aware of all the impacts that they are doing. Because for them, it felt like they were good, their family, they were everything. But then again, if you look at the trail of evidence that they are leaving, clearly shows that they are self-centered and everybody has issues with them.
Did it work?
Yeah, so in such situations, when they have the disorder, medication will have to be given to them to help them stabilize their mood, because of the fact that, like I said, genetics. So there are certain neurological underpinnings that are happening that is informing that. So we have to reactivate the emotional part of the brain to help them to appreciate some of the interactions that they engage in.
Factory reset there. Well done, sir. You were actually the right person to discuss this with us. Thank you so much, Mr. Ezekiel NTA Adi. He's a clinical psychologist and more. We have been talking about how to deal with a narcissistic partner if you do have one. And I believe that this conversation has helped a lot. I'm NYA, the brand, and it's been the brighter side on Z101.9 FM. I will definitely be back with a softer side. Right now, the midday news is coming up shortly. Please stick and stay.